And we're back with another episode of Conversations and Connections. We're the weekly podcast of the Family Crisis Center of East Texas. I'm Stuart Burson. I'm the prevention coordinator for the agency. And we are taking the mobile studio out on the road again for this episode. We're in Nacogdoches today at the Brown Family Health Center. And I am speaking with Gary Roberts, who's with Brown Family Health. And I've been wanting to talk to Gary for a little while, just about what he does with Brown Family Health. Gary, first of all, thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
And Gary and I kind of a lot of times are in the same circles in the community as far as tabling events and health events and things like that. And I really admire what Gary does. And I just wanted to take some time to talk to Gary about what he does, again, with Brown Family Health and how it kind of relates to the work we do at the Family Crisis Center, which I think a lot of times it goes together.
Yes, it kind of runs parallel.
Yeah. So, Gary, first of all, let's just kind of start out broad. Do you have an official title with Brown Family Health, and what do you do? It seems like you do so much.
I have several titles, but my main one is Director of Community Mobilization. Also, I'm the Director of Condom Distribution. I'm Building Operations Manager. I'm Garden Manager, and I'm also a certified phlebotomist. So I have pretty much 5 titles. And just overall, well, in a nutshell, I'm the yes, ma'am. Yeah, I got to do whatever needs to be done. I got to do it.
It's so interesting. All of those titles that you named are so diverse.
Yes,
It's such a wide thing, and we'll get to a lot of those. And so, I know a lot of times we work in the same circles when it comes to healthy relationships, and you really one of the things you do talk about a lot is about sexually transmitted diseases.
Right.
Especially, I've seen your discussions on college, like at SFA, on college campuses, regarding that topic, and you're very blunt in your presentation.
Yes.
Which I think is good, and I think especially when you talk about this, well, in the community, but especially to college students, you need to tell them like it is. Yes. And what do you talk about? You say, hey, Gary, we want you to talk to our group about STDs. What exactly is your approach to that?
Well, my approach when people ask me or call me to do a presentation about HIV, STDs, I just want to put it out there plain, as you said, because a lot of people need to know the facts. There's a lot of misnomers, there's a lot of myths floating around about HIV, STDs, and we just gotta give them the true hard facts about what all this is. Like you said, I'm very blunt about what I do, because as human beings, we're visual learners. And when you see something that's before you, and I try to find, during my presentations, I want them to be in your face, these pictures, these
well, I was going to say,
pictures.
now, your pictures aren't for the faint of heart.
Right. No.
We'll just put it like that.
No, right? They're pretty out there, because you remember it when you see it.
Right.
Yeah, and I've had people who, when I do presentations, I've done presentations, and people, 4 or 5 years ago, I did presentations for, and when they see me somewhere, they ask me, okay, I remember that presentation. So that long ago, and you still remember it. So there again, it's stuck.
Yeah.
It's stuck, because there again, when you see HIV up close, when you see STDs up close, that does something to you. It registers in your brain. Okay, I can get this. But yet, there again, in the United States, every 9.5 minutes, somebody's newly infected with the HIV virus, which does causes AIDS.
Sure. And of course, you talk about a wide variety of sexually transmitted diseases, but just from hearing you in the past, and even hearing you right now, it sounds like you really have a heart to educate people about HIV. Yes. That seems to be your big thing.
Yeah, I've been doing this now for over over 19 years. And I've seen, I tell people all the time, I live in a world of HIV because of what I do. Being a phlebotomist, when I uncap that needle and get ready to stick it in somebody's arm, my risk goes through the roof. I run the risk of being stuck with that needle. But when I draw their blood and put that cap back on that needle and put it in the bio box, my risk goes away. But there are so many people who are being infected with HIV. And so like I said, I've been doing this 19 years. I've had to tell 19 people that they were HIV positive. And that sticks with you. Because there again, you're telling telling someone something that changes their life.
Sure.
Yeah, and I really take it serious, but I try to approach it in a practical way. I try to approach it in, like you said, in your face type of way, because I want this to stick. I want this information to stick. Not only SFA campuses, but I do alcohol and drug abuse counsel. I do youth and presentations in the community to youth, wherever I can get an audience, because there again, HIV is a 30-year-old plus preventable disease, but yet it's still out there. People are still getting infected with it.
Well, and that's one of the things I was wanting to talk to you about. I remember, when we first started hearing about AIDS and HIV, I guess in the mid-'80s, it was it was so alarming, and it was such a big national scare. And it seems like now it's not in the spotlight and it's not on the forefront as it used to be. And why is that? I mean, is that because our advances that prevalent now to combat AIDS, or are we so used to it that it's just not as big of a deal as it used to be to a lot of people?
Well, because of what is happening over the years, advancements in meds, as you said, it's not in the limelight as it once was. Back in the 80s, when this first came out, they called it GRID, gay-related immune disease. And they was seeing that it was mostly gay men who were being infected with this virus.
Right.
But somehow down the road, it jumped to the heterosexual population. And that's when it really took off, because back then, people were dropping like flies. And they had to take
it was pretty much a death sentence. Right. If you had AIDS, that was it.
And then you had to take all these pills. You had a person with GRID back then, they were taking 50 to 100 pills every day. And that was a huge pill burden. A lot of people just couldn't stomach it. You had to take this pill for this side effect, and so on and so on. So it was just a huge pill burden, and people were dying.
Yeah.
Because of all the medication and people not knowing what it was. And so that's why and there again, now, we've gotten it due to advancements in meds. People are taking 1 to 2 pills a day, and they're doing fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a death sentence as it once was.
Sure. So I know when I talk to students about sexual assault prevention topics, let's say we talk to them about consent and healthy relationships and things like that. A lot of them seem like they're just a little uncomfortable, especially when I talk to students about consent. You kind of feel like the eyes are rolling, because we tell them, like, you got to get consent before you do every step of the way in a sexual relationship or a sexual act. Get consent every step of the way. And I feel like some students are like, yeah, whatever. How do students react when you talk to them about STDs and the dangers that are out there and the importance of using a condom and things like that?
Mm-hmm. Because one of the things that I really try to get them to understand is there's consequences to every action. If you're going to lay down with someone and you don't know their history, or if you're not using a condom, you run the risk of getting infected with something that will be with you for the rest of your life, especially when it comes to HIV. Another STD that people are getting is herpes. There's no cure for that. But a lot of the other ones, there are cures for chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis. There's treatment for it. But once you get syphilis, it'll always be in your body. And so these are things that we're trying to get them to understand the consequences of your actions.
And even it's something like that, you say it's in the body for the rest of your life, and even if it's under control and you're able to lead a somewhat normal life, I think it's important for young people to know down the road. Let's say you find someone you want to get married and you want to have settle down and have a family. That's something you need to tell them about.
Yes,
you need to come clean about.
You need to be talking with them. Especially if there's someone that you have a possibility of you want to spend the rest of your life with.
Exactly.
It's all about communication.
Yeah, yeah. So, how is it in East Texas? We think about metropolitan areas and the problem with STDs and AIDS and things like that. I wonder sometimes if people think, out here in rural East Texas where we're at, it's probably not as big of a concern.
Right, and that's some of the things that we hear all the time. Oh, that's a big city thing. That's something that happens in Houston, Dallas. But no, that's HIV, other STDs are right here in our back door of Deep East Texas.
Right.
And so people are getting, because of, people have that stigma, and that's another thing that people are having to deal with, stigma. If I have this, people don't want to be around me, or you can get it. They don't know how you really get it. But there again, it's so important that you educate yourself.
Sure.
So important.
So a question I had is, you hear STD. And then I've also heard, I think probably you talk also about STI, sexually transmitted diseases, sexually transmitted infections. Are those terms are they used interchangeably? Is there a difference in your line of work when you talk about the difference between STDs and STIs?
They are pretty much used in the same content, but there is a difference between an STI versus an STD. An STI is an infection. Sexually transmitted infection. That's the first step to being infected with a disease. Like, let's say, pelvic inflammatory disease. Human papillomavirus. Let's do that one.
Okay.
That's an infection in the beginning. But if you, like I said, HPV causes cervical cancer, and mostly in women. So there again, it starts out as an infection. It progresses into a disease.
Okay.
That's the difference. It's the first step of becoming a disease.
Right. One of the things that you mentioned maybe a couple of years ago that has stuck with me forever is maybe, and you said this was a trend, I don't know how it is now, and it probably people have good intentions with this, trying to find a safer means for sex or safer sex. Mm-hmm. And I remember you talking to students. We were at SFA, Stephen F. Austin State University, talking, I don't know if it was to the fraternity members or what, and you were talking about seeing people come in with sexually transmitted infections in their armpits. Mm-hmm. And I try my best, Gary, because I know this is a serious thing, and I try not to laugh about it. But you were talking about some people as what they were thinking was a safer thing to do, having
armpit sex.
Armpit sex, okay, and we'll just leave it at that. But then a lot of people were then coming up with these infections in their armpits.
Right, yes. Chlamydia, gonorrhea, because there again, you get these sexually transmitted infections by, unprotected behavior, unsafe behaviors, we'll put it that way. And when you're having, if you get like syphilis, syphilis is a spirochete bacteria. The blisters that people get in the first stages of syphilis, this disease, that liquid is full of what we call spirochete bacteria. If it gets on your hand, gets on your arm, wherever it's on your body, that's where it will literally bore its way into your skin. So if you have an unprotected armpit sex and that blister breaks on a penis, that's where it's going to enter the body.
And I guess it's important, I'll be the first one to say, I always kind of chuckle and kind of giggle a little bit when we talk about this. But I think it's an important thing to say because I think people are well-intentioned. Well, it'll be safe. We'll do this and it'll be safe. But in reality, you can still pass that infection on, and no matter what part of the body. It doesn't have to be the genitals.
Right.
I want to move on because I know also when we're at interagency meetings and things like that, you always talk about your work with area prostitutes.
Yes.
That you work with them. I'd like for you to talk a little bit about what you do working with the prostitutes in East Texas.
Back in 2013, God gave me the idea of going out into the community after dark, after hours, and just talking with prostitutes, sex workers as we call them, better term.
Okay.
And I started doing this because when they see me, what do they see me as? Another John, another trick. But I went out with the notion or the drive or determination of being just someone that you can. I'm here to help you. I'm not here to have sex with you. I'm concerned about you. I'm concerned about your overall health. No little girl says when I'm 4 or 5 years old, I'm going to grow up and be a prostitute.
Right.
Situations, circumstances, they happen and they find themselves there. The only commodity they have going for them is their body. So I can make money selling my body. But we just try to let them know that you're better than that. You're more than that. In the whole scheme of things, you're important to us. And that's something that right here in rural East Texas, we don't have, a lot of people are not really working with that population. So we have, when I first started it, I just call it, for lack of a better term, the ladies program. And I had some ladies, some interns, we were at this table. I asked, I need a name for this. And so they came up with the Love Projects. The love, those letters, they broke them down. Ladies of vital essence. They matter. In the whole scheme of things, everybody matters. And so we just want to let them know that you're important. We want to help you. We want to get you out of that situation. But we're not here to push you. We just want to be a place, people that you can come and talk to when you're ready. I tell them all the time, I'm not the popo. I'm here to help you. I want to love you. I want to love you where you are. And I've had the opportunity to pray with them in the streets. I've had the opportunity to just love on them. We give them backpacks. We have a big referral system set up. Just trying to help them.
So when you first approach them, when they realize, okay, you're not a customer, what is their attitude towards you or their reaction?
Well, it takes time to build a rapport. First time they say, yeah, right. Okay, who are you? But then I keep coming back, being persistent. And then over time, when we developed that rapport, they knew who I am. And I've had several people, even in the community, some of the guys in the community, y'all know Mr. Gary having sex with y'all. And they come to my aid. And I don't have to say anything. I laugh about it. Because they tell Mr. Gary has never been out of the way with me in any manner. And I'm just a man that, I'm coming correct. I have a wife. And I tell people all the time, I just can't handle my wife. I don't need another woman. But it just makes them at ease with me.
Yeah.
And I thank God for that, just me. I'm just Gary.
Sure.
And I want to help them so bad.
Well, it sounds like it's also just as much of a ministry for you as it is offering them medical services. Do you offer them medical services?
Yes, we try to get them tested on a regular basis.
Okay.
We provide them with condoms. We provide them with education, whatever they need, where they are.
Okay.
If it's just somebody to talk to, we listen.
So, again, we're here at the Brown Family Health Center. So you work with patients with HIV testing and STD testing and treatments. Mm-hmm. You have the ministry with the prostitutes. Here is
sex workers.
Excuse me. The sex workers.
Yes.
I'm trying to think which sounds better, but I know I understand what you're saying. And as we speak right now, we're in your conference room, and I'm looking out the window here to the back of the clinic, and there's a full on garden, vegetable garden that you have back here. Let's just talk a little bit about that. Why is there a vegetable garden at the back of the health clinic here?
Our former executive director came to me one Monday and asked me what I did over the weekend. I told her I worked in my garden at home. And we got to talking about it. She was asking me what I had. And then all of a sudden she said, well, I think we can do that here. So before I knew it, my mind got to running. And what you see out here mostly is what I have in my backyard.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 31 raised beds back here. We have all types of vegetables. We're in the process of putting in a hydroponics wall where we're going to be growing strawberries with no soil. We have a gazebo out there with deck. We were looking last year before COVID, we were looking at having praise in the garden. We were going to be coming in, having some singers come out, and we're going to have some church in the backyard. Man, it's just we call it our serenity garden. Just a place where our clients can go, our family members, we put it that way, can go before or after their appointments when they come here and just relax. We got 2 water features out there. We got bird feeders. We got squirrel feeders where people can just come and relax or sit out in the gazebo. We got a hammock out there just to sit and listen to the water.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a fire pit out there where we can roast some marshmallows and just relax.
So all these vegetables, what do you do with the bounty of the garden?
Well, we give it away. We give it away
Okay.
to our clientele. We have them to go out and pick it, because there again, that's all about a part of the therapeutic process.
Sure.
Going out there, picking vegetables, picking banana peppers, tomatoes, strawberries, and various things.
Yeah.
And just having lunch. My colleagues go out and have lunch out there on a deck, and just a place to come and relax.
It's very nice.
And really get off into nature.
Excellent. So, Gary, what made you? What's your background? What are you from? East Texas?
I was born and raised right here in Nacogdoches.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, what made you decide to pursue this line of work that you're in, doing what you do? How did you get here?
It was, my goal was to go to DeVry, which I did, but due to some family issues, I had to come back.
Okay.
I got a job as a youth specialist with the Nacogdoches Community Coalition back then in the 90s. And that came through. Then this opportunity came up here at the time it was known as Health Horizons.
Okay.
And I was able to get the job, and I became a prevention case manager. And my background and my passion is helping people, encouraging people, being not say a life coach, but just an encourager. You can do this no matter what. The situation that you're in now, you don't have to stay there. And so that just by me being a people person, that's what I do. This, like you said, this is more than just my job. This is my ministry, and I love being around my colleagues. I love being out in the community doing the work.
Sure.
I mean, a lot of times I'm dog tired by Friday.
Yeah.
I'm on fume, but just and looking back, and it's worth it. And just having a job and being blessed to be in a position that I am to do what I do. And not have all these strings attached, all these restrictions. Yeah, I know my boundaries. I have to have that boundary. But being able to go out and talk with somebody on the street and let them know, one, God loves you. We love you. You matter. Because there again, we live in a society where so many things are just chaotic. But one of the things that I really try to just show love. Just to show love to people. Because when you show love to people, it matters not the color of your skin. It just, who you are. We're all in this thing together. And if we just love one another as human beings, this world will be a much better place.
Awesome. Gary Roberts, thank you for taking some time. I appreciate that. Gary Roberts with the Brown Family Health Center. Gary, again, is the director. We'll just use one title. We'll say Director of Community Mobilization.
There you go.
That sounds
Okay.
like it kind of encompasses
But again, it's just a title.
everything.
Doesn't matter.
Right. So again, thank you, Gary, very much. This has been Conversations and Connections. If you have a question or comment that you'd like to leave us, we do have our email at conversationsandconnections@fccet.com. And also, if you feel like you need our services, if you need the Family Crisis Center for any reason, we do have a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week hotline. That number is 1-800-828-7233. And I want to ask you, if you enjoyed the podcast, please give us a subscribe via Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or the podcast service of your choice. We would appreciate that. And remember, as always, be the voice, if not for you, for someone else.